Trading industry, as well as tourism, member of parliament for Fija North, on this subject of banning importation of salvage vehicles into the country. Hello, Nana, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Nana.
Yes, sure, I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. So good to see you. How is Kumasi?
Yes. Kumasi is okay.
Okay. Now
Kumasi
let me go.
Is cool. Yeah.
No,
the weather is fine. It's calm.
Okay, good. Good.
Sure.
Good to know. How's the constituency as well? Fija North.
Sure, the constituency is cool.
Good.
I just lost my primary.
Oh, I see. Sorry about that, but I'm sure that you have very important role to play. So I'm sure you'll be playing your roles in this country in other ways.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true.
Yeah. Let me find out from you if this law of banning importation of salvage vehicles has actually been assented by the president, if you know about that.
Oh, yeah, that was assented around 30th April 2020. And under the name, that is Customs Amendment Bill 2020. It's been assented, but we need to wait for 6 months before it becomes operational. So effective probably 1st October 2020. If nothing untoward happens, it may come into force.
I see. So by 1st October 2020, that's just about 3 months away from now, we should see the total ban on importation of salvage vehicles.
I don't know how the totality may be, but given the nature of our economy, the structure, the nature in terms of, the wherewithal, it might not be complete ban, but that is the direction. But if you look at this government's plan, the government is there to actually help solve unemployment problems, and it's a bit problematic. We are operating dualistic economy, the modern type and then not so modern. So left to me, I would have loved maybe total ban so that at least there will be a pressure on us to actually bring our arsenals into force so that production may be triple and everybody in Ghana may begin driving brand new cars. But given where we are coming from, I know it's going to be difficult, but that should be the direction. You see, we normally have this problem of saying that, we are taking away my, let's say, means of subsistence.
My daily
but
bread.
For how long, Samuel, can we continue to hide behind those arguments and then do things halfway? It's not going to be easy. And if anybody promises that it's going to be easy, that was absolute lie. But given, this short time, what BW has been able to do, Nizam has been able to do with that, I think we need to bite the bullet and move on, because we cannot continue to depend on these salvage cars. And this high rate of accidents in Ghana, a lot of them, some of them, not all, but some come from that angle. Weak spare parts and, cars which have been drowned in America for 6 months, then they pull them out, put them in the weather, and then they bring them down here, only for us to, suffer the consequences. So it's not going to be easy, but we can do it. We can do it.
But Nana, what I wish that we could have gotten from you would be the definition of salvaged. So what does it entail when you say salvage vehicles? Are we looking at those that are over age, that's above 10 years?
Salvage vehicles,
or those that are accidented?
It's English word, salvage. The letter that you can salvage from, you get the point. Take it from that angle. So some may be accident cars which have been repaired. Some may be cars which may be due to vagaries of weather maybe there's massive rainfall, like what happens in Accra, and you see certain cars being drowned, and then they will not let it go just like that. They will pull them back, then dry them, and then put them back on the road. And you know, when it happens like that, the engineering details might have changed.
Okay.
You know, fine, you see them going like they used to be, but a lot of things inside them might have been compromised. Only for one day, you just, I mean, you are driving on the way and not something untoward happens and you lose everybody in the car. So salvage cars simply means cars which, I mean, has lost their, let's say, original engineering status because of either they might have been involved in an accident or they might have been drowned through, let's say, rain or snowfall or things like that. But they have put them back on the road. You get it, something of that nature.
Okay, I think that I'm hoping that the main law will be clearer on the definition of salvage, because I'm still battling with the literal meaning of the salvage, and I believe that if it's left as literal as that, the interpretation will be very difficult, because I'm sure you agree that there are sometimes very brand new cars that just get accidented and then somebody wants to salvage that. There are times too that about a car that's about 20, 21 years old and somebody wants to salvage that. So under what definition do we begin to put the salvaged vehicles, and which ones would fall under that? Would it also include, let's say, trucks, for instance?
With that, what I can say for now is that the devil is in the detail. You get the point? I mean, when we are set on operating it, then the engineer, I'm not an engineer. You know, these things, you need to get the engineers to come out with the fine details. But basically, that is what I told you. You know, somebody can argue that there's this car which was manufactured probably 21 years ago, but maybe it was being used by an old lady or an old man who was not actually using it. So it was more or less in the garage. So it comes and you look at the mileage, it hasn't even traveled 10,000 kilometers. You get it. Just suppose that to maybe a car which was manufactured just a year ago, but constantly on the road, day in and day out. It comes and it has read, let's say, 21,000 or 31,000. Which one would you prefer? But that is not what we are saying. We are talking about the total impact of those machines on the life of Ghanaian, the average Ghanaian. And apart from the Ghanaian, I mean the life on the Ghanaian, the economic impact. You get it? Economic impact. Like, I know you know.
I understand. And before, I want to ask you a little on the economic impact or the motivation, the idea behind this law, before I go to Honorable Titus Glover, who is on the other side, coming from the Ministry of Transport. So you are the chair of the committee, and this came to your desk. What was the motivation? What's the motivation behind this particular law at this point in time?
The basic motivation is that we need to move on. We cannot live in 21st century and still be using 19th century gadgets. You get the point. And two, you know, we've reached a point. Nanado promised on massive employment takeoff. And you cannot continue to do this pull out, put this one in sort of economy. We need to set, and I believe, God's willing, if we win next election, there's a huge pressure on doctors, Opoku Prempe and Dr. Aduchum to bring in technical education. And with this technical education, if we are successful, we need to set up a lot of industries. And if we are setting up industries, if we are lobbying Volkswagen to come in, Nissan to come in, and then they open their garages, you don't expect them to be doing what we are doing now. Swami Magazine, Kokompe, and then Abu Solkan. We need to get hands-on machines, which are just from the families. You get my point?
Yeah.
So the motivation behind this law is that we need to go modern. And in going modern, you need to also move away from what you've been very comfortable with, which, and you know, this is an economic issue. You are going to get people who are going to tell you how many Ghanaians can afford brand new cars.
Yeah.
That is not an issue. That is not an issue. You cannot say because of that we have to be in this ramshackle structures, and then every day, when you used to be at Metro, you know how many accidents per week that you were commenting on. And for goodness sake, and for Christ's sake, we need to move away from that. So the government's position on this is informed by one, industrialization of the economy or the country, and two, massive employment rollout, so that when it happens like that, people will actually sit up. People will know that now there's no cut corners anywhere. We need to actually produce, at least for people to buy.
Okay.
If government have to even subsidize, I think that would be better.
Okay.
If people have maybe 90,000 and they cannot buy brand new car, and government has to maybe subsidize 30,000, at least it's putting money back into people's pocket. I'm not promising that, but sometimes those are some of the ways that we have to go. So one, massive industrialization, massive employment rollout for our teeming youth. These are some of the, and then when we do these things, importation of these ramshackle vehicles will be put on the back, and then we can earn a lot of foreign exchange, which we can also put them to use in certain areas, so that Ghana, as we want to say, will be rolling out gradually, and everybody will always be smiling. Because the other Ghanaian always want to doubt that Ghana, we are this, we are first, we are that. But we are deceiving ourselves. We need to move on.
Okay.
We need to actually make our dreams come true. And they cannot come true when we sit on the old laws, we do nothing about them, and then few people who are making money elsewhere will always want us to remain there. I think we deserve better than that.
I'm going to come back to you to talk about the Volkswagen and the Nissan that we talked about, and whether we have built enough capacity now enough to say that we don't need the wrecked cars that are coming in. We also talk about what plans you have made in engaging those that we want to get rid of, or those that we want them to move from dealing with the ramshackle kind of cars or parts that we are talking about. Have we been engaging them and all of that? I'll come back to you, but let me turn to the other side and speak to Honorable Titus Glover. Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good to have you. I see that we're having challenges having you virtual, seeing you virtual.
Yes, that is
and that's what COVID.
Difficulty that we're having as a result of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have got to go through the phone.
You have isolated me in my corner.
Yes, so it's unfortunate. Okay. I would have loved to be the student, but I've been protected.
Understood, and clear and clean. But you know that I'm back to negative, so that should gladden your heart. Anyway, we'll find another time to talk about that. So let me come straight to you. Has the Ministry of Transport, has this come? Of course, has this come to your notice? And are we seeing implementation of this ban on salvage vehicles anytime soon?
First of all, let me say a big thank you to you for the platform you have offered me to contribute to the discussion. And let me say a good evening to my colleague, Honorable Ameniampong. Yes, that is purely a trade issue. But of course, as a ministry, anything that comes to the attention of the ministry, I'm hopeful that my minister will deal with it appropriately. But this act, as it stands is an amendment of the Parent Law of 2015 and sections of the Act that has been amended. And basically, what is the essence objective of this amendment is to provide an incentive to automotive manufacturing and assembling plant that has been registered under the Ghana Automotive Manufacturing Development Program. And if you recall, His Excellency the President, during the campaign in 2016, did say that he wanted to industrialize the country. And if we were able to have these assembling plants of these vehicles, it is to our credit. It has so many purposes that it's going to serve to this country. First of all, the money that will have been used in importing brand vehicles into the country will have been reduced drastically. Number two, it's also going to create a lot of jobs for these teeny youths that has graduated from our university and all that. Then again, it will assist in transforming our economy. You know, basically that is what we want to look at. The act again in itself, when you read further, gives opportunity for customs to grant some rebates or discounts in terms of duty for these parts. You know, these vehicles that are coming, there are certain parts that will not be assembled here. So when they come in a lockdown form, because it is not a complete vehicle, it's some semi parts that are being imported into the country, the law or the act gives customs the opportunity to give rebates or discounts on these parts that are brought into the country to be assembled. So for us in the ministry, it's a very welcome news that His Excellency the President has brought to the country, and all of us is our duty to support both the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Trade to support and let Ghanaians know that yes, it is a good act that will help in transforming our country.
But you control a sector that will be mostly impacted by this particular amendment. So we have the regular users of cars, the private ones, and you also have the commercial ones. Now, if you take commercial vehicles, for instance, you would rarely find those that are within the brand new bracket. And those that are even within the first to 10 years age group are pretty on just about half of it. Beyond that, you have a lot of these commercial vehicles who are above 10 years. So how do you think this would impact those particularly in the commercial transport business?
I think first of all, my attempt to answer your question, we need to look at the reasons behind these overage cars that are in the country. Government is trying so hard from the ministry's perspective, the use of public means of transport, Ayalulu, so that people could park and ride in public means of transport. So that first of all, we'll be able to ease congestion on our public roads. That is very, very important. Because the more you have congestion on our roads, the more you lose productivity. Because the man hours that workers need to commute from their homes to their offices to work, because of the congestion of the road, is affecting productivity. So I believe sincerely that we could cure this problem in terms of the congestion, where we have all kinds of vehicles that are overage that are imported into the country. And another way that we need to avoid dumping on some of these vehicles into the country. So there are times that in the past, you need to fix some of these vehicles are not even there. They are not even there. And sometimes they have to improvise some parts and fix them. And this is contributing to some of the accidents we have on our roads. So I think that there's a way that this law will try to cure some of these challenges we have on our roads. So I believe that first of all, importers need to conform with the law. And how do they conform? It is a matter of education, a matter of advocacy to let the public know. Because somebody will say that even the law has been passed, we are not aware of it. Yes, we are not aware. But ignorance of the law, it is not an excuse. So the Ministry of Finance and the Customs Division of GRA need to place intensive advocacy for the general public to be aware of that the law has been passed. 6 months after the assenting of the law by His Excellency the President, on the 1st of October, it becomes operational. So between these 3 months that we have, what do we do? So we need to let the public know, after 1st of October, you don't need to bring an overweight vehicle. Because they're commercial, because they're private vehicle, we need to let the public know so that they will not be caught in the web that we are not aware of this and all that. So what I can say, or an answer to your question, is that because of the commercial vehicle, it does not mean that we should allow all kinds of vehicles into our country. There should be a stop somewhere so that we'll be able to control the congestion that we have on our roads. And some of these vehicles that they come, you know that, I mean, they come in a van form. And when they come, they just send it to the garage. And they do all kinds of seats. You know, the welders do some improvised seats, integrate, put some metals to make sure they have seat arrangement in these wagons and all that. Originally, that is not the design. Originally, that is not the design. So therefore, what we need to do is that as a ministry and as Ministry of Finance and Customs Division of GRA, we need to intensify our advocacy to let the public know that after the 1st of October, these commercial vehicles that are about 10 years cannot be imported to the country. And also, we need to avoid dumping of some of these vehicles in the country.
But we are just about 3 months away from this deadline that we are talking about, Honorable. And I don't know to what extent we have prepared the minds of people in this country to begin to accept this, because you would agree with me in particular that when you import, when you intend to import vehicle from outside into this country, sometimes it takes about 2-3 months. So somebody who is hoping to import may have even already initiated and imported some cars that are coming in. Now they get into this country 2-3 months away from now, and we tell them that these cars are not allowed into this country. How much have we prepared the minds of our folks to this particular directive coming up?
I mean, depending on the destination of the port of load of these vehicles that are coming, whether Asia, the Americas, Europe, and all of that, those who are imported, depending on the distance of the voyage, China could take about 45 days.
Yes.
Europe can take less than 20 days.
Yes.
America can take about 30 days. So I think that
and by then we'll be in August, September.
Hello?
And by then we'll be in September.
What I'm saying is that yes. So those who have imported now, they have that opportunity. That is why I'm saying that the Ministry of Finance, in which we have the Customs Division of GRA, we have so many platforms that we could use. The electronic media is there. Our embassies are there. And we could do, within 3 months, we can do a lot of education to let the public know that, look, you cannot import overage cars after 1st of October. And that can be done. That can be done. In your platform you have, a lot of people are working on it electronically. As we are talking, there some of them are listening to us. And if you're able to communicate to their cartel and let them know that the government has enacted a law, an amendment of the parent law of 2015. Therefore, if you want to import a vehicle into this country, it should be within 10 years. And the vehicle above 10 years is not to be confiscated, because the law is a law. And we need to comply. If we don't need to start, how do you cure some of these things?
Okay.
I mean,
But
so the plans that we have, we can still talk about it. We can still educate the public about it and let the people know.
Okay, let me find out from you if you are aware of the details of the law that regarding these vehicles, salvage vehicles that are supposed to be banned, because I'm seeing that quite a number of sections of the law, the Customs Amendment, the Customs Act 2020 Amendment Act has been amended. So you have Section 55 amended, Act 891 amended, you have Section 58 of Act 891 amended, Section 61 also amended, 151 is amended. Quite a number of them. So I know that, or I'm expecting that it goes beyond just overage cars that are above 10 years. What's the criteria of a salvaged vehicle that is not allowed? That is not clear.
I mean, when you use 58 of the Act, point 2, and I read, the principal enactment is amended in Section 58 by the substitution of subsection 1.
Yes.
1A, a person shall not import into the country a right-hand steering motor vehicle
Yes.
without approval of the minister, and I guess this time of the Minister of Trade.
Yes.
B, a salvage motor vehicle.
Yeah.
And here we are talking about dented vehicles. You are in the port. You see some of these vehicles that come into the country where they are so much dented that you have to bring it down to come and do a lot of nutrition to read and all that. It goes further to say that the following motor vehicles over 10 years of age, subject to subsection 3 and 4 of section 154, motor cars and other motor vehicles principally designed for transport of persons older than those under the HS code 87.02. Because all the duties that are paid are tied to HS codes.
Yes.
So if your vehicle is tied to HS code number 87.02, including station wagons, racing vehicles, racing cars, HS code 87.03, and the motor vehicle not exceeding 5 tons, transport of goods, HS code heading 87.04. So you could see that HS code from 87.02 all the way to HS code 87.04. It is clearly stated there that please don't make that attempt. Don't make that attempt. So when you go further, it tells us that even the assembling or the manufacturing of the vehicle and 151 of the Act, it tells us how these vehicles that are purchased need to be built. Some come in a knockdown forms, in the platform, a roof, and all kinds of things. How we also deal with some of these things that come into the country. So clearly, we need to be very careful as to what we need to do in order not to turn this country into a dumping ground. You go to some even African countries. I think it's Tanzania, either Tanzania or Kenya. I'm not so sure.
Even Namibia,
one of these two.
Even Namibia, the capital of
you cannot. Okay.
Yeah.
Within 10 years, you cannot import a car after 10 years into the country. And people still want to bring even right-hand vehicles. In 1974 August, we changed from right to left. So if you want to bring right-hand vehicles, you must seek approval from the Minister for Trade. It is in the Act. So you cannot just come and dump these vehicles in the country and they'll go take it to a workshop, then they go and change from the right to left. So I mean, we need to be serious. I'm not saying this because we want to throw people out of business, but we need to make this country law work in the country. We cannot be doing things as usual, business as usual. We want to do things all the time. But clearly, there should be a departure. And some of these things, that we will deal with them so that we bring some sanity. Because the essence of this law also is looking at the carnage on our roads. You look at the carnage on our roads. When you look at the statistics, I can tell you, it's so scary. But the National Road Safety Authority is doing a lot under our ministry to make sure that we'll continue to speak to the driving public to make sure that we minimize the accidents we have on our roads. So clearly, the law has been spelled out. It has been clearly spelled out that we all need to conform in order to avoid any punishment that will follow.
No, okay. So clearly, and I understand you, as you mentioned, some of the cities where we find some of these fine cars and commercial, good new cars, commercial and private. And I also contributed that if you take Windhoek, the capital of Namibia, for instance, you step there and the cars that you see, very pretty. So it gives you a different picture of the entire city. However, if you go to some of our neighboring countries as well, when you see the cars, your heart breaks. So it's in good direction that we fix our cities. But you would also agree that there are ramifications, there are difficulties that may come as a result of this. You mentioned Section 58 of Act 891, which is amended, and you take the 2B, which you mentioned already, a salvaged motor vehicle, or C, the following motor vehicles over 10 years of age, subject to Sections 3 and 4 of Section 154. Now, back to my salvaged. I still have gone through a few areas of the amended Act, and I'm not getting the definition well. The reason why I wanted you to go beyond the over age, 10 years over age, that is clear and it can easily be seen. But for the salvage, would you agree that it's quite vague and we would need to educate people on what exactly the intention of Parliament is when they talk about salvage? Because people can bring in brand new, we are told a lot of stories that they can bring in brand new Mercedes-Benz, cut some parts and bring it inside. It looks brand new, but when they get here, they bring some parts and join it. Will you call that salvage?
I mean, the use of Mercedes as an example, I'm sure will not be the best, because Mercedes as a term, it's a very powerful vehicle.
But depending on the state in which you found it, you could have salvaged it.
What I'm saying is that anybody who is bringing a Mercedes or a vehicle similar to a Mercedes, so long as it falls under 10 years, you are covered. So
is that what the law says? Because people, I don't see that clearly defined. That's my concern.
Because the interpretation, clearly customs is there to help us in the interpretation. Because they were part of the committee's work that we did, you know. So clearly customs will be in a very big picture to explain detail to us. That is why that somebody will try to bring it in a knockdown form. A Mercedes-Benz, that is over 12 years, maybe 10 years or more. Because when you look at the chassis of the vehicle will determine the year of manufacture.
Yeah.
So even when you bring in a knockdown form, customs has a way to determine whether it is an over-age vehicle or not. So they have the experience and the capacity to determine that yes, this vehicle is above 10 years. So when cleverly you want to avoid, you know, the punishment thereof, and you want to bring it in the form of a knockdown, all they can do is that they can go into the chassis, and the chassis will tell you the year of manufacture, and clearly you caught in a well. Why do you want to get yourself punished? Why don't you do what is right so that you avoid any unnecessary embarrassment or punishment or education? I believe that there should be a beginning of that. For all these while, we have had these over 8 cars that is coming into the country. But there should be a point that we can say that enough is enough. Let us begin a new chapter. Let us see how we can transform this. Let us encourage the manufacturing of our own vehicles. It is true, majority of our people cannot afford buying of brand new vehicles. But vehicles that are above 10 years, you bring into this country. Sometimes some of our roads are not even well, are not good. It's even going to worsen the condition of the vehicle. You understand?
Yeah.
So if you have a couple of years, then you see your vehicle going well. So we believe that all that we are saying is that even if it is 9 years and months, it is still under 10 years, you can bring it down. That is all the law is saying. Than to bring it that is above 10 years and it's not going to help you. So I believe that yes, there is opportunity for everybody to make sure that we are able to allow this law to break.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at the time my chairman sitting, Amaniampong, will tell you some of these importers were invited, some stakeholders were invited for them to share their opinions and light on what government wants to do. There is no law that is passed in Parliament without input of stakeholders. You understand? There is no law that is passed in this country at Parliament where the committee where the referral has been made will not invite any memoranda or input from the general public or stakeholders. So I believe that a very good work has been done. And let us allow those work, this law to work. And we'll be able to see how best we can navigate safely to make it operational.
Okay, I'll bring your chairman in shortly. But let me ask you, have you, and as you talk about engagement, have you engaged thoroughly the spare parts dealers, the Abosokai dealers, the Swami Magazine folks, and all of that?
My chairman can speak on that matter.
Okay, I think I'll take that too. But the one I want to give you is, what about the transporters, those who are in the transport business? Has the transport ministry begun something, or do you intend to begin something as soon as possible? We have 3 months away.
You mean in terms of education?
So in terms of education, say, so are all commercial drivers aware that this is happening, and so from now they should stop importing? If somebody had
tomorrow my minister and I will be in office, and I'm sure, as effective as he is, and I know he's down to earth, and he put something in place to make sure that we're able to reach these Abosokai spare parts dealers and the transport owners and all that. So maybe you can speak to me after tomorrow, where I can meet my minister to see the roadmap as to what we are doing to engage transport owners, transport unions, and that.
Okay, so I'm going to go to your chairman shortly, but again, let me find out from you. Your chairman earlier talked about VW and Nissan, and since you're also part of the committee, as we wait to get chairman back on, have you personally seen, or can you tell us if we have begun seeing production of some of these cars?
You mean myself, Titus Glover?
Yes, yourself. Personally, and as a member of the trade committee as well, because you are still a member.
I'm a member, but sometimes, with all due respect, sometimes because of duty in office, I sometimes miss meetings. But not to say that I'm a habitual absentee. But I can say that my chairman can speak to
okay.
Thoroughly
on it. So let me get to
answer to my chairman.
Okay.
To deal with that. Yeah.
Hold on a little, because I'll come back to you again.
Yes,
let me get to Nana Mafo. Do we have Nana Mafo? Okay. So Nana Mafo, if you can hear me, let me find out from you real quick. What's the state of the VW and Nissan production that we were expecting? Okay. Do we have that, Frank? Okay. Hello, Nana.
Sure.
Yes, I wanted to find out the state of the VW and Nissan manufacturing companies that we are expecting in this country. Do you know about them? Their state?
Oh, actually, we are in a very much advanced state. That is the ministry's work. But you know, I'm always in touch with the Honorable Minister Alan Kwadwo Chematin and the two deputies, Honorable Carlos and Honorable Hankaleze.
Yeah.
We are in a very advanced state. I can
have they started producing?
Say that, it's because of this COVID thing which has taken everybody's eyes off on most of these things. But I can assure you that we really in far advanced state. Actually, the Ghana Free Zone Board CEO, that is Ochebe Fitu, is also one of the vanguards in this area. I can assure you, I cannot give you the details, but I can assure you that we are in pretty advanced stage as far as Nissan and the VW program is concerned.
Okay, I asked you that because...
No, it's more of the Ghana Free Zone Board business than the ministry, but they are working hand in hand with, the ministry as far as those two projects are concerned. Okay,
I asked you that because I'm sure you are aware of this new directive from the Office of the President that government policy is that all MDAs and MMDAs should patronize, as well as state agencies should patronize locally assembled vehicles.
Yes, that is true. You know, those are some of the things President, His Excellency, actually has seen the need to push. So I think what I saw was just dated 2 days ago, 3rd July. You see,
and it's supposed to start in July.
And the emphasis is that he wants to give a direction. You know, Ghana here, we say things and then we leave them to limbo. The president, by this document, is giving a lot of support to this initiative, which is his own baby. Because my outfit is a very bad example. We go out there to pitch, I mean Parliament. We want chairs and then we go to China to import. We want to curtail all those bad practices. So going forward, President is saying that most of the MDAs, Ministry, Department, and Agency, and then the MMDCs and even the secondary schools. I know the next batch of cars that will give to the secondary schools or the tertiary institutions will be cars which have been assembled in Ghana here.
Okay.
That way, that will give, I mean, people how serious the government is as far as its policies are concerned. Yeah.
But that's why I asked you whether you know if VW and Nissan are producing. If we are not sure that they've started production, and we have directed that MMDAs, MDAs, and state agencies should begin purchasing from locally manufactured.
But you know,
where are they supposed to purchase from? What are the other outlets? Are we looking at Kantar? Okay, Kantar, for instance.
The point is, when you go to the free zone, yeah, they've acquired, I mean, some lands there. And I know that they don't even want to be around the coast like Tema Takrade. They've gone as far as Kintampo and certain areas, and even Yapi, you see, where they can easily get the water to link, I mean, the ports. They've acquired tracts of land. I think VW was much interested in acquiring land at Yape area so that most of the heavy equipment can easily be transported on the Volta Lake to wherever they want to site it. So it's not like maybe the government has just given that flat and then it's going to sleep on it. No. And how many days does it take if we are doing assembling? I mean, within a short time, they can come out with this thing. Because most of these things, probably they will manufacture the steel and all those things, the parts out there, and then they will start with assembling. As and when things are going forward, then they will think of actually manufacturing the main parts here. The initial part is assembling. They will start assembling like what Pedro used to do in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You get it? They will start with the assembling, and as things improve, then they will think of getting the actual steel manufacturing here, and then so let us not doubt what this government wants to do to push the nation forward. It's informed on the fact that we say things and then we allow it to follow.
Yeah.
Now government is saying this. So the pressure will be on government to make sure that if you say that MNDCs are to purchase their cars here, then you have to show leadership.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that things actually work with those companies so that at least the assembling, even if they have started, will move within tremendous speed so that at least all of us will smile to the bank because at least Ghana will be seen. It will not be on paper that we are middle income country, but we are middle income country which actually is doing production. Rare middle income production is also taking place here.
Okay. We will take interest in knowing where some of these production is taking place. And I would also want you to tell us if indeed, assume that government takes the lead and all these agencies begin to demand whether we have enough being produced or assembled locally to meet that demand shortly. But let me announce the phone lines. The phone lines that you can call 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. And then the number you can WhatsApp on, which you have already started calling on instead of WhatsApping on. The number to WhatsApp is 055-901-9177. It's on the screen. That's the number you can send the WhatsApp on. Please don't call that one. The number you can call is 020-552-8353. But Nana Ameniampon, let me find out from you. Assume that we have all these agencies purchasing, and this directive says beginning July, that means now, or beginning July 1st, we should all begin to purchase from these locally assembled places. Do you think that we can meet demand? Hello, Nana. Hello. Okay. Hello, Nana. Okay. So let me just read some of the quick. Do we have Honorable Titus also on the line? Honorable Titus. Hello? Or is Nana back? Okay.
Just a break. I couldn't get you.
Okay, that's fine. I was asking you whether we have enough demand. Assume we demand, we start making the demands, we have the capacity to meet the demand.
No, you see, this is government policy. And normally government policy is normally brought out there to actually give direction to the various sectors of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we have more than necessary, demand capacity to give that direction. The only problem is that, fine, we've not actually agglomerated all these demands to a point. But I can assure you that this coming from the government, or from the presidency, who is giving direction as far as the economic policy of the country is concerned, I don't think the demand that we need to actually push production is going to be found wanting. What I want to see is that, we are a country where we have limited resources. So government, knowing its priorities, is going to actually stand firm and then push his CEOs, his appointees to actually obey. Because honestly, if all secondary schools are to actually demand, let's say, a minibus from Volkswagen, I think they can relocate most of their resources from places like Morocco, South Africa to Ghana. And within the shortest possible time, they can give almost 1,000 secondary schools in Ghana, each and every one of them, a minibus. So let's not belabor on that direction. Some of these directives sometimes are teasers. They are teasers to excite action from the various, components of the economy. I can get the angle that you are coming from, that where is even the demand coming from? For the government or for the president to direct that MMDC issue, do local purchases rather than importing. That is a very good question. But what the president is also saying is also telling you that this is the man who wants the so-called local content to be in action, so that maybe by the end of this year, we will see that we have a sprawling land which is being occupied by these foreign companies which have been domiciled in the country, which is giving active employment to our teeming youth. I think we should be excited by that direction rather than are we prepared, when can these people come and those things.
Yeah.
They can come if only, fine, granted now, even thanks to COVID-19, all the borders are closed. And because of that, we shouldn't initiate any action, because we think that, even if we open up, they cannot come because of the blockage of the various, boundaries. The truth of the matter is that Ghana has reached a point where we need to find every means necessary to get our teeming youth jobs and good employment, not, 9-day wonder jobs. We bring these companies, we will learn from them, then we become experts, and then at least we leverage it, and in the sub-region, we become the sub-region giants, and then we leverage it across the continent, if not throughout the whole world. So I think government gave that directive with all good intentions, that given the nature of Ghana economy, if only we all put our hands on deck, we will be tackling ourselves coming a few years' time, and we'll be where we want to be.
Okay.
I think that informs President's directive.
Okay.
It's not born out of mischief. Okay. It's out of goodwill.
let me
that
re-announce
if we will win next election and
the
we
number
put
that
things
you.
in right perspective, I think that the rest will be history.
Okay, Nana. I'll come back to you, but the number that you can call, I'm told that it's changed because of technical challenges. The number is 03029669922. So 03029669922 is the number that you can call. I'm sure that it should be on the screen. So let me get back to Honorable Titus Glover and find out from him. Honorable Titus Glover. Hello. Hello, Honorable. Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Honorable, let me find out from you. How do you? Is there a holistic policy that is driving this whole agenda? So aside banning the importation of these salvage vehicles, does the Transport Ministry have what next? That's basically what I want to find. Is there a linkage into something we are to expect in the future? Probably the bus rapid transport system that we all heard about in the past. Would this going to lead into some mass transportation system or something that the Transport Ministry has in place?
I think that the major essence of the ministry, and for that matter, the vision of His Excellency the President, as to how we can promote effective public transport system. Because, like I told you earlier, we have too much congestion in our major cities, i.e. Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi. There's a need for us to do what we call park and ride. Park and ride. You park your car, you jump into public transport, you come to the central business district, come and do all your business that you want to do, and all that. When you finish, you go back to your home. When you do that, one, you avoid the use of fuel. You come to the city, you come and pay parking toll. Sometimes you don't even park where you are clamped down by local authorities who want to decongest the city and all that. So what we are looking at as the Ministry of Transport is how we can effectively and efficiently promote the public means of transport. And that is why the ILO has come in. You understand? Unfortunately, we have a challenge of infrastructure where ILO will have its own designated lanes that you could drive through. Because ILO will be competing with the normal third floors on the road, which makes it quite difficult in terms of traveling time to their destinations and all that. So clearly, the ministry, we are looking at all these things that happen. Again, Cabinet has also approved the use of other means of transport, like these port trains, where you have these overhead trains, that we can be used into the city centers and all that. There's going to be some consideration that is ongoing. We've had some stakeholders meeting with some investors who want to come with their own money to partner government to be able to decongest our cities. And again, the over accidents that we have on our road, the carnage we have on our road, is also contributing to a lot of human rights and productivity reduction and all that. So clearly, from the ministry perspective, I believe that this law has come at a good time. So that one, we'll look at the type of vehicles that will be imported into the country. It is not all kinds of vehicles that were imported to the country. Vehicles that are imported into the country should be in conformity for 10 years, so that the vehicle can last longer for you. Because when you bring a car that is above 10 years, you and I know that it's not going to last.
Yeah.
It's not going to last longer for you, especially where government has declared this year of roads, where major roads are being tackled. When you come to that community, into my east, there's a lot of road construction going with asphalt and all that is going. So clearly, government And His Excellency the President has a vision. And this vision is that let us help him to transform this country. We need to industrialize this country. And how do we do it? It is through partnership with the private sector. So I remember when I was a young boy growing up, when it comes to Unilever, they had an assembly plant of Bedford. They brought all these knockdown parts and they are assembling the Bedford, the head and the tail. Then you see this tractor Chuloli, we probably call it Chuloli, where they build the wooden part of the vehicle that is used in cutting foodstuff from the hinterland. We had that in this country. We also had new plan. We had new plan where they bring all the parts, not that part, and they assemble it here.
Yeah.
You know, so clearly it's a different vision that the president has, and we all need to support him and the two ministries, transport and trade, to make sure that we're able to go to this level. But you asked a very important question to my colleague that I wanted to make one or two submissions on that, as to whether we have the capacity, based on the directive from the Excellency the President, signed by the Chief of Staff. And your question was, do these manufacturing companies have the capacity?
Yes, to produce
with the demand that these MMDAs will be making?
Yes.
And the question is no. Because when you start the procurement process does not take time. You understand? The procurement process, first of all, you need to write to the Chief of Staff approval based on the budgetary allocation. When that is done and you are through with your procurement and you want to make the supply, imagine all these MMDAs. How many of these manufacturing companies do you have? I'm sure Nissan and one or two. But every institution and the kind of vehicle that they want. Whether they want a saloon car, they want a pickup, they want a Land Cruiser. So it's going to take quite a little time, you know. But we need to encourage ourselves.
Okay.
You need to encourage ourselves because the vision that the president has brought is a very laudable one.
Yeah.
And we need to support him to make sure these companies can have the capacity to bring all the parts and assemble them here. Some people convert to foreign exchange.
Honorable, let me
Indian companies will have in this country. You know they use startup saloon cars?
Yeah.
Yes, most of them they don't use any other vehicle apart from startup saloon cars and pickups.
Yeah. I think that the direction is clear, and a lot of people would love to see that we are able to achieve that height. But also the right things ought to be put in place so that we don't find ourselves wanting when we get there. For instance, letting people be aware and all of that. This question is coming in for Nana Ameniampon, for instance. It says, good evening, honorable members. Please, can you ask the chairman that what about Christo as for vehicles? Why are we not patronizing his vehicles? I'm sure he will answer to that. Please ask the chairman about heavy-duty trucks. Are they also banned from importation? We'll get that from the Honorable Deputy Minister as well. And then we have Edu Benjamin from Sprinters on the line. Let me pick that one, and then I'll get back to the members of Parliament on the line. Hello, Edu Benjamin. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a car dealer at Sprinters Road.
Okay.
I want to find out, I want the government to clarify the accidental for all the salvage cars. If the car is not over age, let's say 9 years, and maybe as it's small accident at the bumper or small, is it part of it? Also, I want to...
Sorry, you weren't clear. Say that again. You said if the car is what?
Let's say the car is not up to 10 years.
Yes.
It's not over age.
Less than 10 years.
And maybe some slight accident. Is it part of it?
Okay.
Maybe the bumper.
Okay, that's clear. So that should be part of Section 58, the 891 amended, and then 2 Clause B, I think, that should say a salvage motor vehicle. It's the C that talks about the overage. The C says the following motor vehicles over 10 years of age subject to subsections 3 and 4. But the B talks about the salvage motor vehicle. So you also want to know whether if the car is less than 10 years, would it fall under salvage vehicles, and what's the definition of a salvage vehicle? This one says, good evening. I would like to say kudos for the good job you and your team are doing for Mother Ghana. I would like to draw the Honorable Titus and your attention to the current state of Tema Shipyard and the need for your team to also draw government's attention to it. Okay, so that's well noted. This one says, good evening, Sami. Please let the minister emphasize on the actual category of vehicles that are banned for importation. That is it over age or all accident vehicles? Can an accident vehicle that is not over age be imported? They should be clear to avoid possible confusion before we start importing. Yes, I think you are right. Hi, on Port. My name is Andrew Wentry Ejay. I am tuned into the live program. I want to know when the policy on ban on accident cars takes effect, the exact date. Okay. Though I said it roughly here, I'm going to have the honorable member say it exactly what we are looking at. Honorable Titus Glover, if you're there, can you confirm for us if this is happening exactly 6 months after the 30th of April, as we are getting the report? Is that what you know? Hello?
When you read the
Hello?
this is what is going to be that after it has been attempted.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
What I'm saying is, when you read the act, after it has been attempted by the Excellency the President, it goes further to say that after 6 months of the assembling by the President, and this gives us 1st of October 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the next 3 months.
Yes.
Where the law becomes operational.
Okay. So the next 3 months, this law should start. We should start implementing. So this one says, hi,
that's
good
what
evening.
The law is saying.
Okay. Okay, but maybe, Nana Meniampong, what do you advise that government commences this exactly October 30th, as the law says?
Oh, actually, where that was more or less parliamentary talk. You know, normally when a law is assented,
mm-hmm.
the president has the prerogative to set the date that it can come into force.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I mean, during the ascension, it came out that 6 months after the assent,
mm-hmm.
it will come into force.
Okay.
Let's not forget that a lot of things have happened this year, which have derailed most of the government programs.
Yeah.
You know, this government set 2020 as a year of infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
All the money that we gathered towards this direction has been consumed by COVID-19.
Yeah.
So you come to realize that there are a lot of things that we wanted to do for ourselves, but for COVID-19, we've shelved them.
Okay.
So I cannot put my finger on it that 30th October is rolling out.
Okay.
But feeding from the assent notes, it gave us that 6 months after the assent, it is going to be rolled out. So let's keep our fingers crossed and look at the big man in the Jubilee House and then see the direction that you will give.
Okay. So
Short of that, then 30th October, as you said, the law will come into force.
Okay, so until we hear from the big man from the Jubilee House, as you put it, we should take it that the implementation should commence 30th of October.
It's not like the law is coming into force. We've passed the law, the president has assented to it. But as to its takeoff, that is what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's not something that is going to change. That
okay.
one, I can assure you, that is not going to change. That we are going to back to where we came from. But the point is that the laws have been made. We are looking for the day that it will take off. But I can assure you that because of the COVID-19 and its ramifications, sometimes if you are not careful, you will, put the cart before the horse. That's why our governance is not where we look everything before. We always wake up and then look to, Jubilee House for directions. No. Every sector of the system is working all right. But you know, when you sell loss, you need some funds to actually roll it out. But where we are now, and the challenges that we are going through, that is why I'm not able to stick my neck out. But as a chairman of the committee, and given the work that we've done as far as this Customs Amendment 2020 is concerned, I don't think we have any major challenge, except that maybe the funds that we need to roll it out may cause us to pause a bit. But notwithstanding that fact, I know that we are almost 75–80% through its implementation.
Let me pick Daniel from Tabora, and while he comes in, this one says, good evening, please. Does the ban include right-hand drive vehicles too? Kwame from Adenta. Yes, Kwame, that's supposed to be section 21A somewhere. It says, a person shall not import into the country a right-hand steering motor vehicle without the approval of the minister. So if you have to do that, the minister would have to approve to that. Daniel.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, good evening to the honorable members. Good evening to your listeners. Yes, I want to ask, I'm looking at the employment aspect of this law. When you take a salvage car, I'm not talking about a very destroyed car, like a car with a door, a bumper. We have a lot of artisans working on this particular car for their daily bread. We talk about the welder, we talk about the electrician, the body work, the paint, or the sprayer. With this law, all these jobs are going to go away. What is the government's, idea or provision for these groups of people? VW, Nissan, or the new companies assembling plants coming out, they can absorb these people. There are thousands of them. What do they do? That is my question to the honorable members.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And this one says, it's good the minister has made all these references to Bedford, but we need action. We don't want an easier said than done statement, and that is coming from Jimmy. So let me go to Nana Meniampo again, and then we'll get Honorable Titus Glover back because I think we lost his line. Nana, a lot of people are asking, are we ready for the economic implications of these?
Sorry?
Are we ready for the economic implications on the lives of people who are involved in all the production chain and all of that? So the gentleman who just dropped the line, for instance, talked about those who are in the artisanal sections of this business, those who are fixing car parts and all of that. How have we made ourselves ready to push them or shift them away from that mentality?
Samuel, truth be told, every policy implementation has some of these fallbacks. You get the point? Somebody, somehow,
will suffer.
may be affected in a way.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that, we are callous, we don't think about those people. No. If you go to, I live in Kumasi, I was born and bred, and then even my working life, a lot of them happen in Kumasi. You get the point?
Yeah.
So, and I used to be with Ghana Commercial Bank, and Swami Magazine was one of the branches where I used to work. There are people in Swami Magazine now who are now unlearning what they used to know. Because most of the cars coming these days are electronic cars.
Okay.
And it will amaze you how these people are adapting, changing fast to learn these things. For how long can we say that because somebody's job is going to be curtailed or be taken away from him? So we need to, these are some of the exigencies of the time.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't like him, fine. When we were in commercial bank, and there were terms that we were using, right sizing, a whole lot of terms. Some have to be taken away from the banking hall. They were giving quite substantial money. Some engaged in farming, and they've never regretted. You see, so we need to be very careful. How we want to build this country and how we want to build this economy. We know that some are going to lose their jobs. But that is why the government is there. If people have good intentions, they will also come up with alternatives. And then government will see how best it can help them. Because we cannot wait for everybody to get its bootstraps, tied before the whistle is blown.
Nana, let me go on the line and pick Samuel. I'll get back to you.
Our hands here. Yeah.
I'll come back to you shortly. Samuel is on the line from Tema. Hello, Sammy. Hello?
Chairman, I'm here.
Hello, Samuel.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Chairman, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Samuel. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I would like to.
Okay, do we have difficulty with Samuel? Let's move on quickly. Hello, Samuel. Okay, so I think we have a challenge. That should be the last caller that we are picking for tonight. We'll do well to read some of the other comments. But Nana, somebody says, Frank from Tamale says, I want to know what about Neoplan Assemble plant that's been abandoned. I am thinking that a lot of people are asking for specifics and clarity. Do you think that going forward, it's about time, since we know that we just have about 3 months to meet the expectations of the law, can we commence immediately education, giving clarity to what we are to expect by October 30th?
Yes, Samuel, let me assure you, Kumasi, I'm coming to Accra tomorrow. If you don't mind, by Friday, I'll get you. I saw my colleague, Titus. I think you also link him on phone. I'll get in touch with Titus so that if you don't mind, probably early next month, which is August, get us to your studio so that we can give you fine details. Because this is something that when it came into Parliament for deliberation, I think, we were divided into two. Some were happy that for once we are moving forward. But others also thought that, no, why can't we bid our time a little?
Yeah.
So when I come, we can get another date where we can all meet at the studio and then give you the fine details. With times and then durations, so that all of us will be very comfortable. I'm telling you that this is one of the best things that is ever going to happen to this person called Ghanaian.
Yeah, but
because honestly, yes.
Nana, because honestly, I was going to say that undoubtedly, a lot of people would love to see, and you rightly said it, that some time back I really used to report on fumes that are emerging or emanating from rickety cars here and there on the streets. As a matter of fact, a lot of people took interest in reporting on cars that are fuming on the streets there, and nobody wants to see that. However, before something of this nature comes, look at the questions that are coming. People want clarity. People want to know what it is.
You see,
people
the point
need to
is
be prepared.
The Ghanaian is not doing what he has to do. You need to you voted for a government. He's giving you promises. I would love that. Demonstrating against EC. Those should go to where you get your cut. Because if you have your kid at KNUST or Kumasi Technical University, where I know they do a lot of engineering, and the government is coming out with such a program, you as a citizen, all that the least you can do is to bring pressure on government, the trade minister, to make sure that this thing works, this thing takes off, so that you know that for once you voted for somebody who said this and he has done it. But you see, instead of...
So you want people to bring pressure on government to give clarity?
You see, instead of us putting the right pressures, we sit aloof. And every Ghanaian is a commentator. So we just comment the next.
But unfortunately, when they are commenting, Nana, unfortunately, when they are commenting, you who is bringing the policy We just have 3 months to the time the policy should come. You can take us and set the agenda with us.
No, the point that I'm saying is that this is a policy which everybody is going to actually enjoy.
Okay.
Come what may.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that the 3 months is not too short a time.
Okay.
If you know what you are doing, 3 months is not too short a time in governance.
To implement such a policy.
Even 2 weeks can be a lot of time, because it all depends on your preparation that you made. If you've made adequate preparations behind curtains, rolling it out may take 2 or 3 days, and people will see the effects of your works or your thinking. So, Samuel, what I'm saying is that for you, it may look like too short a time. But for the experts who are supposed to roll it out, and then the lawmakers who have to come out with the nitty-gritty about its implementation, for us, 3 months might not be too short a time.
Okay.
So what I would say that is that it is pressure that they have to put on the government, who know it, because he signed this letter just 3 days ago, 3rd July, that MMDCs, MDAs should start purchasing their cars or other machinery from these locally assembling, firms or industries.
Yeah.
If they are not there, then you as a good citizen, the president enjoined us 7 January 2017 that we should not be spectators. We should be people who will not be sitting on the fence. So respectfully, you draw government's attention that you said people should purchase their equipment from here. Please, can you direct us to where they can get it?
Okay.
And this will begin to think that this thing, instance in the people out there.
Yeah, that's why we have started the debate here, because
will begin to work. Other than that, we'll be taking your job. You know, you were loving this job, but later on you move on to Horse and Harvest. You don't think you must move on. And of course, you see, so every Ghanaian is a coach, is a commentator, is everything that you want him to be.
Yeah.
For once, let's challenge the government.
Nana,
So
that's why we are having this conversation.
Then
That's
you
why
have more confidence to give him 4 more years.
Yeah.
That is how it is.
That's why we are having this conversation, Nana. But I think that if you ask me, we need a lot of understanding and clarity. And that is the more reason why maybe some of us think that even the 3 months we have left, assume that we are going to get the nod of the president to commence implementation of this particular policy. Then people need to be prepared. Now, questions are flowing. So a lot of them are coming. I'm going to go to Honorable Titus Glover. This one says, please further clarifications is needed on how the ban on accident or salvage cars will be implemented. Will it be based on extent of physical damage or vehicle title information? 2, if I buy an accident car and change, say, bumper or fender before bringing it into this country, does it still fall under accident cars? So there's a whole lot that needs to be unraveled for people to understand.
Yeah.
Let me go and take the last bit from Honorable Titus Glover. We'll definitely continue this discourse some other time. Honorable. Hello? Honorable Titus Glover.
Sorry?
Let me have you wrap up in a minute, and also if you want to. Yes.
Yes.
Hello? Hello? Do we have a problem with his line? Honorable Titus Glover. Okay, I think we have a bad, terrible network today. Okay, so we're going to have him position himself, and then we'll get back. Let me just read this one. I think I've read this one. It says, can the government help us and be clear? We are all waiting. It's not as if we are not interested in knowing the details of this particular law, but somebody must open it up to all of us. This one says, when is the minister going to come out to all of us in the market and at the various stations to let us know that our cars are no longer needed. Okay. This one also says that, what about those of us, the taxi drivers, who have bought cars, they are overage and they are already in use? Are they going to ask us to sell them or burn them? Okay, so that's somebody's question as well. Sakumono, this one, Pa from Sakumono says, can the Transport Ministry and the Trade Ministry begin immediate education on this? Why have they waited for too long before coming out now? Well, we have started our conversation and probably it will continue. Do we have Honorable Titles Glover? Hello, Honorable.
Yes, honey.
Yes, sir.
I've really enjoyed the discourse, but especially from your callers. Some of the questions that you're asking are so legit. Yes, I was saying that I really enjoyed having tonight, especially some of the questions being asked by your being are so legit. One of them was asked as to whether what the commissioner would do communicating for others.
Okay, Honorable, I've got to quickly interject and then go for my international news. Probably by the time we come back, your line will be better. If you can also position yourself properly for us, because we're still having difficulties. International news next.
A group of armed men attacked the FPSO SALVAGED, some 30 nautical miles southwest from Bonny Island, earlier on Thursday, kidnapping some of its crew members. The news first emerged on the website of the UK-based security intelligence firm Dryad Global, which cited a high-confidence report according to which 11 crew members of the FPSO were suspected of being kidnapped. The incident was confirmed by BW Offshore, the owner of the FPSO. The company reported on 2nd of July 2020 at approximately 4:20 a.m. local time. BW Offshore's FPSO SALVAGED was subject to an attack by pirates offshore Nigeria, in which 9 Nigerian nationals were kidnapped, in quote, the company reported. The company said, quote, the incident on board the FPSO has ended and none of those remaining on board have suffered physical injuries, unquote. BW Offshore added it was cooperating with local authorities represented on site by the Nigerian Navy. Dryad Global has cited a high-confidence source that 5 crew members of a general cargo ship, Kota Budi, have been kidnapped by armed men off Cotonou, Benin. The kidnapped crew, including the master, are all Chinese nationals. The multi-purpose vessel, built in 2013, is owned and operated by Singapore's Pacific International Lines, PIL. PIL confirmed the incident to Offshore Energy Green Marine and reported in a statement, quote, 5 Chinese crew members, including the master, were taken from the vessel and presumed kidnapped. The vessel and remaining 15 crew members on board are safe and healthy, and additional measures have been put in place to ensure their safety and the well-being of all on board, unquote. Quote, PIL is currently working with the flag state, local authorities and contacts to establish the whereabouts of the missing master and crew and is taking strenuous and urgent steps to ensure their well-being and safe return, unquote. The attack took place on Thursday, July 2, the same day when an armed group of pirates kidnapped 7 crew members of FPSO SALVAGED offshore Nigeria. DP World reports it has completed assembly of a proof of concept test section of the world's first container high bay store system at Jebel Ali port in the UAE. Dubbed Box Bay, the automated handling system stacks containers up to 11 stories high in a fixed rack framework and has been developed as a joint venture by DP World and SMS Engineering Group of Germany. The world's largest supplier of crude to the international shipping industry, the Philippines, has opened a green lane for seafarers to allow for free movement and crew change. In a move that should ease the crew of many thousands of Filipino seafarers stranded at sea at the Philippine Green Lane Joint Circular was signed on Tuesday, led by Philippines Foreign Affairs Secretary The joint circular takes effect from 2nd July 2020 and will allow for the safe travel of seafarers subject to health protocols from the Philippines government.
Okay, so we're just going to wrap up with the last 30 seconds of Honorable Titles Glover's submission, and then we can thank you for patronizing the program. Hello, Honorable.
Yes, Sam.
Okay, so you have the last word, sir.
Yes, I really enjoyed the discourse tonight, most especially some of the questions being asked by your callers.
Yeah.
Let me take you through one of few. One of the callers did say that he wanted to know whether what consideration government is doing in terms of wellness, body, vehicle body work, handlers, sprayers, and all that, and whether we are not going to destroy their business.
Yes.
Let me see, let me read and concern. There is no way under His Excellency President something that want to destroy anybody's business.
Okay.
So long as the vehicles are within the age qualification of 10 years, my understanding of the law, even if it is slightly salvaged, dented, damaged, and within 10 years, I'm sure customs will deal with it appropriately. So if the car is above 10 years and is dented, it's totally different than where the car is below 10 years. But I did have a text from a lady friend that she was importing a car into the country and she had the door dented. She's qualified to be by slightly dented or whatever. Number two, someone also asks, what are the categories of vehicles
that qualify under salvage?
That qualify under this act.
Yes.
And you recall, in the beginning, I did say at paragraph, chapter 2 of the section 58, when you read the paragraph C, the paragraph
C says the following motor vehicles over 10 years.
The following motor vehicles and motor vehicles principally designed for the transport of persons older than those under HS, the harmonization 87.02, 87.03, 87.04. All these vehicles are qualified. And I'm sure, like I said, Customs Division of GR will be in a good position to do advocacy, do the education, and let people know of really, really what is happening.
Okay.
And you also wanted to, somebody asked whether heavy duty vehicles are also included. I'm sure the HS code clearly defines which vehicles falls under this category.
Okay.
And indeed, falls under this category, they all qualify and all that.
Thank you.
Somebody asked something about shipyard vehicles. This is a major investment of this country. And our ministry is trying so hard to look for time to support government to have a PPP arrangement to transfer ship and dialogue. It is still ongoing. It is still ongoing.
Okay.
So I can say that I come to say, from the Ministry of Transport perspective, our duty is to make sure that roads are safe. Our duty is to make sure that the environment in which we operate are also friendly, because you are gradually moving away from the use of fossil fuel to make the environment clean and order. We don't want these rickety cars, over-age cars that can cause a lot of accidents on our road. So we need to support the president and the actor has come so that we'll have a very safe country to work on.
I appreciate your time, Honorable. I would have to leave it here. So, Honorable Daniel Inikwate, titles Glover, is the Deputy Minister of Transport, former Chair, Parliamentary Select Committee, Trade and Industry and Tourism, Member of Parliament for Tema East. Also, virtually joining us from Kumasi, Nana Mafwa Meniampo is the Honorable Chairman, Select Committee, the sitting Chair, Select Committee of Trade and Industry and Tourism, is also a Member of Parliament for Fija Kwabre North. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and I apologize for the hitches, the technical hitches that you encountered. That's what happens when you do isolation production. So forgive us. I'm sure that going into the future, hopefully next week or so, we'll all get back into the studio and have a very smooth production. I appreciate your time. The executive producers of the program, Nanesi Suduberg and Mrs. Esther Jevidonko. See you next week.